So this past Sunday was Divine Mercy Sunday on the Nova Stowe calendar, Low Sunday on the traditional calendar, the Sunday after Easter, Thomas, where Thomas meets Jesus after the resurrection. And I get a question about this among traditional Catholics around this time of the year. Should traditional Catholics do the Divine Mercy devotion? Now, I want to say this. I have seen people of goodwill make good arguments on both sides. My conclusion on this matter, and this has very little personally to do with whether you're Sedevacantist, Fraternity of St. Peter, or FSSP, an adult traditional Catholic. My honest opinion on the matter, after looking into it, will be is that it is permissible to do the devotion for a number of reasons. That being said, I do not recommend doing them for a number of reasons. Now, obviously, if you are a traditional Catholic who recognizes post-Vatican II canonizations, if you are especially if you remember a follower of Priestly Fraternity of St. Peter, it's going to be obvious why you would accept the Divine Mercy devotion, because Pope said this. Obviously, you're going to accept it. I'm going to take this approach, not using that perspective. I'm going to argue that it's permissible even if you're a Sedevacantist. You could at least in theory accept it, while at the same time, even if you do recognize post-Vatican II popes and decrees, you should not be doing the devotion. And that's how I'm going to be coming at in this video. And as you can see, my voice is a little bit different. I'm clearing my throat. Yes, I'm sick. But please bear with me as I'll go through some of the reasonings. And again, I hope to make another video about this topic at a later date. So, for those of you who don't know, the Divine Mercy Devotion appeared when Divine Mercy Devotion began in Poland with Saint Faustina Kowalska. I'm probably butchering her last name. My apologies. Who had a vision of Jesus who wanted to be worshipped with a now famous image of Divine Mercy. I'm going to put that image in the as a thumbnail for this video in case you haven't seen it. And of course, and I've seen a lot of prayers that were composed by her and as a devotional, and they all seem on the face of it pretty good, like Jesus' love and mercy. Yeah, there's nothing shocking or unusual about that. Yet for many years, this devotion was expressly forbidden by the Catholic Church. Now, here's where the controversy comes up. It was argued that a lot of St. Faustina Kowalska's opinions were heretical in her diary and so should be forbidden. And some of the things that I've heard alleged about her devotion, about that particular devotion, were that, yeah, they were heretical. Things like you don't need to believe in Jesus to be saved, baptism is unnecessary, and things along those lines. Now, I'm not giving you direct quotes for an obvious reason right now, as it's not just because I'm trying to be lazy, though admittedly I'm making this video off the cuff while I'm sick. It is because largely because the official translation of her diary does not have those explicitly heretical statements. So for example, the reason of this is because Saint Faustina Kowalska was illiterate herself. She could not read and write, and all her writings were in a shorthand. So the translation of her in English, if you read English, the translation of diary reading is itself a translation of a translation. It was written in shorthand, which only Saint Faustina Kowalska truly understood. And she wrote it down in shorthand, and we were trying to figure it out. Now, Ottaviani, I believe it was Cardinal Ottaviani himself who was in charge of looking into the matter at the time. I forget the name of the congregation he was the head of that put him that responsibility. Please comment down below if you remember. And he shut it down right away. He thought it was heretical, and to be fair, when approving new apparitions, You are supposed to be strict about what you accept, be it with the orthodoxy of what's said, be it with the sanctity of the person, be it with is there actually something supernatural going on. You need to be very strict on a high level burden of proof. And Ottaviani was not being anti-Polish spirituality or anything like that. He was doing his job, frankly. And with the information he had at the time, yeah, he did what was best. He did what was best. Now, he did what he thought was best with the information he had. Now, as time went on, there was an argument that the translation was done poorly. That didn't say these heretical things, and another translation was done of Saint Faustina Kowalska's diary, and the result of it was that those heretical statements were not there. That it was misunderstood. They misread what Faustina was saying, and so the apparition was then approved. Even and then to be fair to those to be fair to people who defend the Divine Mercy devotion, even Pius XII himself, from what I understand, in some ways try to help speed the devotion along, because Ottaviani was known for being excessively strict on these matters, understandably so, with good reason. But did he misunderstand something that he didn't see? Did he misunderstand something and see heresy where there wasn't heresy? It happens. It can be done. And now, so for that reason, I do think it's, so long as you don't accept the heretical version of the devotion, permissible to say it, I think that's pretty reasonable to think that. And some of the best traditional Catholics I know have a strong, who are admittedly indult Catholics, they have a strong devotion to Divine Mercy and Saint Faustina, and I have great respect for them. Now, I do want to say that why I personally do not engage in the Divine Mercy devotion, why I would absolutely encourage people to not do the devotion, and it is for a reason that Saint Faustina herself gave. According to Saint Faustina Kowalska, one of the objections she had to her devotion was that people were concerned that it was going to be used to replace devotion to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. She said, this is not what God wants. This is not what's going to happen. What needs to be done and what's going to happen is that this is going to be a supplement to the Sacred Heart devotion. Devotion to the Sacred Heart must take precedent, according to St. Faustina herself. Now, if you go into a Novus Ordo church that has an image of the Divine Mercy, you will see quite a few celebrations publicly for the devotion to Divine Mercy, but you will not see it as a devotion to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. I find this problematic on a number of levels. One, it is explicitly not what St. Faustina wanted. It is what St. Faustina Vision herself said, not what God and how God intended the Divine Mercy devotion to be used. It is the Divine Mercy devotion is actively being used to get rid of devotion to the Sacred Heart. You can see it in most churches where the Divine Mercy devotion is being done. Lots of talk about Divine Mercy, nothing about the Sacred Heart. Also, when it comes to images of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, you see what the love cost. With the image of the heart of Jesus, you see rays of light, red and white rays of light coming out of his heart. That's just symbolic. With Jesus, it's not the love that he shows, is this wounded heart, physically wounded for the love of men. And that was indeed pierced the lance. It ties much more closely to the cross of Jesus when you do devotion to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. When you do devotion to the Sacred Heart. And that is being actively supplanted in modern Catholic parishes by devotion to Divine Mercy. So while I do think that you can do devotion to Divine Mercy, not be a heretic, I do, and some of the best people, trad Catholics I know, have devotion to Divine Mercy. I personally would actively discourage people from doing this devotion for the sole reason that it has been at the very best been hijacked by people who want to put down devotion to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. Go to Novus Ordo Parish where Divine Mercy is done. Again, I challenge you, bring up devotion to Divine Mercy and ask them what they know about devotion to the Sacred Heart of Jesus and St. Margaret Mary. You will find very much that the Divine Mercy devotion has dominated, which was not, by its own standards, not what the Divine Mercy devotion was supposed to be about. So, late blessed low Sunday to you, belated happy Easter to everyone. Do devotion to the Sacred Heart of Jesus, and please avoid devotion to Divine Mercy. God bless.